and welcome to the City Insider. I'm Melissa Ryerson. On today's program, we'll take you on a journey inside Franklin's newest city parks. We'll show you a little bit about the history and the fun things you can do with your family and friends. First, we'll start here at Harlansdale Park, a passive park rich in history. Then Monique McCullough will show us the second phase of Liberty Park that will provide plenty of family fun, and we'll tie things up with a look at Eastern Flank Battlefield Park and some artifacts, possibly from the Civil War, that were recently found there. First, let's start with Harlansdale Park. This is a beautiful park. I've got Franklin City Parks Director with me, Lisa Clayton. Lisa, when did the city acquire this park? And it used to be a walking horse breeding farm, right?
Correct, Melissa. In 2003, under the direction of former Mayor Tom Miller and the alderman at the time, the Harlan family actually had the property within the family for over 50 years. So they actually came to the city and asked for a first right of refusal, if you will. So the city actually purchased it in 2003, and we started the master plan around 9 months later.
Wow, that's awesome. How long has it taken to bring this park from being a farm to a passive park? And you may want to explain what a passive park is.
Sure. Within the city of Franklin, we actually have three types of parks. You have a passive, you have historic, and you have active. Active parks are usually what you see with the ball fields in Jim Warren Park. Passive, more of like a Pinkerton Park, to where you can observe, you can read a book, you can come out and fly a kite, you can play on the playgrounds. But no organized sports. And of course, historic, you've got a lot of the battlefields.
And how long did it take to bring this park from a farm to what it is now?
Sure, it's taken us a good 6 years. In fact, in 2003 to 2005, the city actually did a charrette process with consultants and added around 700 citizens throughout the community came through the program. The charrettes took place right here on the farm, and actually 4 other public forums took place. So from there, a master plan, which is actually a 50-year master plan, actually came out of that charrette process. From there, then the preservation of the farm became really part of the whole project, because it had been untouched for close to the 200 acres had been untouched for over 50 years. The citizens of Franklin have never really been on the property, just the walking horses and the different types of breeding horses that were on. So documenting the facilities, documenting the whole sequence of how the horse farm operated was very, very important at the time. So that took another year, and around 2006, 2007 is when we started construction. The design, and as with any type of design, it took a while for that to take place, of going through the boards, historic zoning, because everyone really needed to weigh in on this important project.
It's really great that the community was so involved in this, and they're getting what they want. So what can people do now, and what can they do hopefully in the future?
Sure. Right now, it's a wonderful place. If you are an artist or if you're a painter, we'd love for you to come out. This is one of the most scenic areas in Williamson County. One of the things that is really great that came out of the charrette process is actually the 5-acre pond on the property. You can't really go and fish anyplace else in Williamson County, or for that fact, in the city of Franklin. So if you'll come on the property, we actually have a 5-acre pond. Fishing license is required, let me just say that. But we've stocked it with catfish and crappie and brim. So we'd love for you to come out. It is catch and release, but if you've got your new fly reel, or if you just want to cast or have a child come out with you, it's a great place to start a new trend. Some of the other things that you'll have is special events. We can actually accommodate large events with tents. If you're going to have a festival or a concert, we invite you to come out. We do have a special permit, that event permit that you must complete, but it's a great place for an event.
Yeah, that leads into my next question. If somebody wants to rent this facility or another city park for an event, what would they do?
Well, actually, just contact. You can go on our website or contact the Franklin Parks Department at 794-2103. Anna Schubert is actually the program coordinator and handles all the requests through the programming division, but we'd love to have your requests come through.
All right. Thanks so much, Lisa.
Sure.
Good information. There is a rich history here at Harlansdale, and one of the men that knows the history the best is Jim Hayes. Anna Schufert is with Jim right now by the Midnight Sun Monument. Anna, take it away.
Thanks, Melissa. That's right. Jim Hayes does know a lot about the history of Harlansdale Farm. For Jim Hayes is the son of Harlan Hayes. He was born and raised on Harlansdale Farm. Jim, hi. Thank you so much for being with us
Hello,
today.
Anna. It's my pleasure always to talk about Harlansdale.
I know it is, and you do know a lot about the history. Jim, tell us a little bit about the history of the Harlan family, the Hayes family, and how you relate to that family to Harlansdale Farm.
Well, Harlansdale Farm was established in 1935 by W.W. Harlan. W.W. Harlan had migrated from his native Gamaliel, Kentucky into Nashville in the early 1900s, and by that time had become a manufacturer of clothing in Nashville. He was looking for some wide open spaces to raise his 4 sons, and he migrated further south and chose 200 acres near Franklin and named it Harlansdale Farm. Now, the name comes from a combination of his name, obviously, and Allendale, a partially completed subdivision that occupied part of the farm. As a matter of fact, some of those houses still stand on the farm today. And so the name put together was changed to Harlansdale. And when W.W. Harlan came from Kentucky to Harlansdale, I don't think he ever thought he'd be in the horse breeding business, because this farm was just a general Middle Tennessee farm with corn, wheat, oats, hay, hogs, cattle. But he fell in love with a new breed of animal that was just being developed in Middle Tennessee called the Tennessee walking horse. And really he liked it because it was gentle, easy to train, and his boys would probably get thrown off horses less if they were on walking horses. About that time he recruited my father, Harlan Hayes, to come south and manage the farm. And the two of them made a wonderful team in that they not only did they get involved with this brand new breed of horse called the walking horse, but you might say the walking horse started in Middle Tennessee, but it was perfected at Harlansdale Farm. And early in the farm's history, matter of fact, 10 years into its history, we were blessed to acquire a stallion at that time named Joe Louis Wilson. We brought him to Franklin, Harlansdale Farm, began to train him, changed his name to Midnight Sun, and of course that became the most famous animal to have ever lived here. Obviously the most famous building here is the big green and white barn that everybody sees when they ride by, and establishes the anchor point of Harlansdale Park's viewscape. So does that answer your question?
That always does. You're always wonderful to answer my questions. And to add a little bit more to that question, and speaking of what it was like to grow up on this farm, this farm, it will now become a park, a 200-acre park, a passive park, and it will be a focal point as you come into the city of Franklin. Did you ever think, Jim,
no.
as you were on this farm as a child, that you would see this farm become a viewscape as you enter into the beautiful downtown Franklin?
No, Anna, you know, as a little boy, I was born here and drew my first breath here on the farm, so this is home. And as a little kid running around here, this was a world away from Franklin, yet it was only 1 mile away. We had all the best of the country life and the town life together. Growing up here was just one day was one adventure and the next day was another adventure. I mean, we were surrounded, or I was surrounded, by wonderful people, great neighbors. This is really a farm within the city, and always has been for that matter. But a lot of family. But more particularly, we had animals. We had cattle, we had horses, and we had great horses. I mean, we were the best of the best. And it was, for a kid, it was very exciting to be with the winter all the time.
Right.
You know? And that was the way I grew up. And a typical day, of course, was a typical farm day. We got up very early. We fed the livestock. I went to school, went to public schools in Franklin, went to school all day, came home, helped with the livestock again, did all the other things a kid normally would do, except I had the Harpeth River thrown into the mix. I could play and fish on the river. I had Franklin a mile away. I could ride my bicycle into Franklin to go to the Franklin Cinema, Franklin Theater, as we called it the picture show, but it was the Franklin Theater. So it was a great life, especially in the summertime when I worked with my father every day, traipsing around behind him as a kid. When he got on the horse, I wanted on the horse too. He let me ride. I learned to ride here, learned to be a very poor horseman here. But it was a super duper life.
It sounds like it was, Jim.
It was.
And Jim, I cannot thank you enough, and your family, because of the history and how you cherish that history. You are a living history for us. We are so blessed to have you and your family still here to be able to continue to tell the story of the Harlansdale Farm, and now we'll tell a story of the park at Harlansdale Farm. And another story that we're going to tell you very shortly is a story from Monique. When we come back to the City Insider, Monique's going to take us to Liberty Park, the disc golf course, and show you the new disc golf course and the new playground. So stay tuned.
I'm here at Liberty Park where we've just opened Phase 2. This new phase includes a state-of-the-art playground and the city's first disc golf course.
Did you know that 78 women are forcefully raped every hour in the United States? Just as startling, 1 out of every 4 college women reported being sexually assaulted sometime during their 4 years of school. Hello, I'm Rose Stegall, Community Relations Officer for the Franklin Police Department. We are proud to offer a free basic self-defense program for women who live or work in Williamson County. Our 12-hour RAD, or Rape Aggression Defense Program, is designed for the average woman with no previous experience or background in physical skills training. Mothers and daughters are encouraged to attend this free training together. Register now for the next RAD class at the Franklin Police Department. For more information, call 550-6811 or visit us online at www.franklintn.gov and enter the keyword RAD into the search box. Franklin Police Department. Professional, progressive, responsive.
I'm here at Liberty Park where we've just opened Phase 2. This new phase includes a state-of-the-art playground and the city's first disc golf course. Liberty Park is an 85-acre active park located in East Franklin on Turnywell Lane.
I don't have a lot to say other than I've already been up there illegally, and I can't wait to see how it really works with a Frisbee. I walked all, I guess there's 10 holes in there. I walked like 6 or 7 holes. There's some great dog legs and some uphill and downhill shots, and I think I was really interested to see how the whole thing worked.
We are so excited to have this part of the park finally open, and we're going to put it to great use. And I know the people in Ward 1 are thrilled to have this right here in their own backyard.
But we are very proud to open up the Liberty Park disc golf as well as the playground for our citizens of Franklin tonight. The vision of the Parks Department is to provide alternative recreational opportunities in order to meet the need for the entire family. And we do believe with Phase 1 of Liberty Park, with the ball fields and now this wonderful disc course and the playground, we've definitely met that.
All right.
With me today are Kevin Lindsay, the City Parks Facility Supervisor, and Todd Snackenbert, the city's arborist. Thank you both for being here today.
Thank you.
Well, Todd, tell us what you did to make this terrain as natural as possible.
Well, what we did is we tried to remove just any trees that were dead or dying, any trees that were going to be a hazard or actually in the way of the actual fairways or hole locations. And we used those trees to line the pathways and the access routes, and that gave us an outline to put our mulch down. And so really what you see is we just tried to leave everything that was alive, that was still in good shape, and tried to work around nature, so to speak, and to still create, the best course possible.
Now tell us where you got the mulch from.
The mulch came from our solid waste department, and what it was is using Christmas trees, and they also pick up debris along the sides of the roads in their normal routes. They mulch it at their facility, and then we had our crews bring it out along with solid waste and some street department employees. They brought it out, dumped it out here, and then we used bobcats to spread it all throughout the course.
So this is really tied into the city's whole sustainability efforts.
Oh, very much so. Most of, a lot of the work was done by our crews, a lot of the tree work, all of the tree work. The only part that really wasn't done by our crews was the major construction at the beginning. But yeah, all the mulch, everything was inside the city. It saved a lot of time, saved a lot of money.
I've heard some of your staff members say that this course is really challenging. Does that have anything to do with what you did to make the terrain as natural as possible, and what can people expect when they come to play the course?
Well, I think so. I think just the hillside, as you walk the course, there's a lot of elevation changes. There's some rock shelves. You're going in and around trees. Where the fairways are and the access paths, it's mulched, but any errant throws, you're going to be out in rough terrain. And it is a hillside, and it is the woods, so yeah, it's pretty challenging.
Thank you. Now, Kevin, can you tell us exactly what is disc golf?
Sure, Monique. Disc golf is very similar to, I guess, normal golf. It is I guess you have a scorecard, very similar to golf, and it's the lowest score wins. We have several different pads. They are made out of concrete, and what you do is you have a limited amount of space where you have the disc. You take off, you run, some people stand, but you throw it toward the basket area. In this particular course, we have 2 different baskets at each hole. So basically it's a 10-hole course, but actually you can play it 20 different times.
The course must be pretty challenging then.
Yes, I think it is. On a scale, on an activity scale, I think from 1 to 10, it probably is about a 7 or an 8. Get your heart kind of invigorating.
Now, are the discs provided, or do players have to bring their own?
Well, if we come out tonight in the grand opening, we're going to have about 300 discs that we're going to give away to the first 300 people. Those are City of Franklin discs. We have several different kinds of discs to give away. There's a putter, there's a driver, and there's a mid-range. But you can go out to your local store here and around Franklin. Several stores do carry those, and you can purchase those at will.
So just like traditional golf, there are different types of discs, just like there are different types of clubs?
Yes, there are. And just like traditional golf, you have different folks that think different drivers or putters are better than others. The same thing with disc golf. You have different providers that make the disc, and different discs actually do different things. One might curve, one might fly straight, one might fade a little bit. So it's just a matter of preference, and whoever likes to throw that type of disc, that's what they would kind of journey to.
Why did the city decide to build the disc golf course here at Liberty Park?
Well, this is a total of 85 acres, and when you first come in, you do see the nice baseball facility that we have down there, which is state-of-the-art. We had this land in the very back that really is a hillside, and it's very limited to what you could do to a hillside. Going through different conferences that the Parks Department sends us to, looking at the different trends that are out there, this was a growing sport over Tennessee. There are several places that have put in different golf courses or disc golf courses similar to this one. We visited a couple of them, and really for the money, it's very cheap for us to do using this 13 or 14 acres that was basically just not going to be used. We went in, selected the trees, removed them, and I think it gets you in nature. It touches all of your 5 senses. You get to breathe, you get to smell, you get to see, you get to hike, and then if you get to sweating long enough, you might taste some sweat in your mouth.
Thank you. That's great. Thank you both for being here today. This is an awesome course, and I encourage each of you to come out and join us.
When the City Insider returns, Monique will get some disc golf tips from Ron Pittman with the Williamson County Disc Golf Association.
Don't be a water hog.
Don't overwater, you could lose thousands of gallons a day.
Don't be a water hog.
Don't use a leaky hose, you could lose 20 gallons a day per leak.
Don't be a water hog.
Don't water your yard at the hottest part of the day.
Don't be a water hog. Don't wash small loads of laundry or dishes.
Be a water hero. Do reduce outdoor watering and use drought-tolerant landscaping.
Be a water hero. Fix your leaky hose. Be a water hero. Take shorter showers. Be a water hero.
Wash only full loads of laundry and dishes.
Be a water hero.
This message brought to you from the Franklin Water Management Department's campaign, Don't Be a Water Hog, Be a Water Hero. Save water one drop at a time.
With me now is Mr. Ron Pittman, President of the Williamson County Disc Golf Association, and also an assistant in helping us design this course. Thanks, Ron, for joining us.
Thank you.
Disc golf is one of the widest growing sports in the country today. What makes it so popular?
Disc golf is a growing sport. In the last 10 years, the number of courses that have been installed have doubled here in the United States. And it is growing because it's mostly in public parks. When you come to play disc golf, it's free. And you come to a public park that is ready for the sport, and families love it. They come and can spend the afternoon with their kids and throw Frisbees. And sometimes you get to keep score, and that's what makes it so fun.
In this economy, free fun it's what we all want.
Oh, exactly. I know that there are some folks who play traditional golf, and I hear all the time how the investment of the full afternoon and the investment of the golf cart and the investment of the green fee, and they go, I don't play as much as I used to. And in this case, you don't have to pay any of those things. It's in a public park. We like that part.
That's great. What makes the course here at Liberty Park so special?
Well, like Kevin had said earlier, this is a piece of land that wasn't going to get used for much anything else. And disc golf is a real natural sport, a real passive sport. We get to use the land that's already there, and the terrain lends itself to finding a fairway and finding a place to place a tee pad and finding a place to place a target. And Liberty Park has got some really unique looks. It's on a hillside. The elevation changes are dramatic, and it makes for some really interesting disc golf shots.
Now, would this course be good for beginners as well as professionals?
You know, that's a very good question. We designed this course with a short course, just 10 holes. That's all that the land would allow. But the good news is that in each hole, each fairway, there's two sets of tee areas. There's a tee area for the more skilled player, and then there's a tee area for the recreational beginner player. One is white and one is red. It's really an easy indication. And so when a family comes out for the first time to play the red tees, 10 holes, they've invested less than an hour and have had a blast.
Now we're standing now on the first tee. Is this the first white tee?
This is the very first tee that is on the white tee area, a little bit longer. And the tee areas in disc golf are typically a concrete square. And that keeps you from tripping on any roots or mud. And safety is a real concern in this sport. We want everybody to be safe. And you stand here on the tee pad and you look over at the sign that's on the post, and there's an indication of where the target is. And then you look down the fairway and you go, oh, I see the target. And that's where you're trying to throw to in the least number of throws.
So are you going to show us exactly how to do it and make your hole-in-one?
Well, yes. In disc golf, a hole-in-one is called an ace. They're rare, just like regular golf, but you sure do celebrate when it happens.
Have you ever had one?
Several, yes.
That's great. I'm here now with Kevin Lindsay, Parks Department's Facility Supervisor. And Kevin, we're standing here at the new playground at Liberty Park. What makes this playground so special?
This is a great playground right here at Liberty Park. It is actually a handicap accessible playground. We have a system in place below our feet here that's very spongy. It's called a VitraTurf poured in place system, and that prevents an injury from a child if he were to fall off the slide, fall out of the swings, or just trip and fall. It gives adequate bounce factor and hopefully prevents injury.
And I understand that it's made out of recycled materials?
Yes, ma'am. From what I can understand, it's all made out of recycled tires. They put it in a grinder, grind it up. You have a base material, which is under top of the pretty material that you see on top. It's a shredded material. It goes down in so many inches, and then on top they add the color to it, grind it up a little bit smaller, and that comes in color already selected, and we lay it out to the desired thickness and exactly what we want as far as a pattern.
And there are also picnic tables lining the playground, so it's kind of like a new family area here at Liberty Park.
Yeah, this is another, just an asset to this park. We have the disc golf up above. You have the playground here, so the whole family can come out. You know, the larger children can play the disc golf. The younger children or the handicapped children can come in here and enjoy this playground. We have a water fountain. We have handicap accessible picnic tables, benches. And the main thing is this park is really still not finished. There will be pavilions that will be spotted throughout the woods. You might see a trash can or something of that nature off in the woods, and you're like, what's that trash can doing up there? Well, there is future plans to have those items put in. And hopefully one day we'll have an amphitheater back in the corner and possibly a multi-purpose skate facility. We get a lot of offers or kids asking, where can the BMX bikes ride? Currently they cannot ride in our skate bowl at Jim Warren Park because of the type of concrete it is. But hopefully out here, you know, board willing, we'll try to get a multi-purpose skate bike facility out here too.
Will you also eventually have walking trails or hiking trails here at Liberty?
Yeah, there are plans for an overlook. Up where we have the disc golf course, it is one of the highest peaks in the city UGB. In the fall of the year, when we were actually laying the course out, you can see almost all over Franklin from the top of the hill. There is a plan in the master plan for a nice overlook up there. We will probably start this fall on trying to work in some walking trails up on the land that we currently haven't used for the disc golf park. Some of that might intertwine, but for safety reasons, we would like to try to keep the trail off of the disc golf course. But that's the hopes anyway.
Well, thank you, Kevin, for being with us today.
Thank you for coming out today.
And again, I encourage each of you to come out and enjoy this beautiful park, Liberty Park, here in East Franklin off Turning Wheel Lane.
Thanks, Monique. When we come back, we'll take you to another Franklin City Park where we found some Civil War artifacts. Don't go away.
These objects here are 12-pounder fragments. Now, they were used here in the Battle of Franklin, probably fired from up around Fort Ranger.
Honey, our utility bill is here.
Oh, great. My favorite time of the month.
Oh, look, it's our Roundup registration form.
What's Roundup registration?
Oh, come on, I heard about it. We can round up our utility bill to the next whole dollar and help others that might not be able to afford it to buy a home in Franklin. It's through the Affordable Moderately Priced Housing Program.
Yeah, but I'm not paying more on my utility bills.
Oh, give up a coffee for once. It's a few cents a month, it's a few dollars a year, and we can help another family in Franklin. Come on.
Yeah, you're probably right. We should probably do it.
By signing and sending in this self-addressed form, you could help a family in Franklin. Your donation will be placed into a special fund designated for affordable and moderately priced housing. On average, your annual contribution would be about $6 and would never exceed $12 in a year. Let your spare change work together for our community, our children, and our future. For more information or to sign up online, please go to www.franklintn.gov/roundup_program.
We did it. You should too.
Hi, welcome back to the City Insider. We're here now at Eastern Flank Battlefield Park, southeast of downtown Franklin. This used to be the old Country Club golf course until the community raised funds along with the city and acquired the park in 2005 to preserve our city's rich history and bring the area back to close to its original state. Joining me now is Greg Wade from Franklin's Charge and also Eric Jacobson. He's the interim director at Carton Plantation. Greg, recently the Parks Department was working on this property, and as per policy to survey disturbed ground on historical parks, your assistance was requested. What did you do, and what did you find?
Well, we had worked with the parks folks in the past on helping identify any kind of artifacts from the Civil War era on other park property. And the folks from the Parks Department called me and said we're going to be moving some dirt around on some former sand traps, and want to know if I could get together a team and come out and walk around the sand traps and do some archaeological excavation work. And so I got together a group of volunteers and we came out, I guess, June and July, and that's what we worked on.
And just to be clear, metal detecting is not allowed on city parks, and this was really done because it was disturbed ground and the city authorized it.
Exactly, and everything that we did find, of course, we turned over to the city, and that was just part of something we wanted to do to help out.
And you found some pretty exciting things. Let's go over some of these things on the table.
Yeah, actually, some pretty neat objects here. This first one here is a 6-pound solid shot cannonball. And what's intriguing about that is there were no 6-pounders during the actual Battle of Franklin. So it begs the question, when was the 6-pounder here? It could have been before the battle, it could have been 62, 63, during some other activity. It was found in the midst of a whole lot of material that would lead you to believe that there was a barn or some kind of tenant home, because there was dish fragments, bricks, and all that kind of thing scattered about where the bulldozers had moved the dirt. But this was actually found about 18 inches deep and about at the limit of a metal detector's range. Oh, wow. So that was a pretty neat find, and we could theorize why it's here.
And it looks like this is part of some pieces of china. Tell us about that.
Well, yeah, these are examples of just several pieces of china that were scattered in an area about circumference about 50 feet. Some of them have writing on the back. It looks like dishware of some kind.
And this is not an old golf ball, right?
No, that's correct. We did find some golf balls, but these objects here are 12-pounder fragments. Now, they were used here during the Battle of Franklin, probably fired from up around Fort Granger. They would have been a 12-pound ball, but hollow inside. And this would have been inside those, and upon the explosion of the ball, all the fragments inside, these smaller balls would scatter and cause casualties. Mm-hmm. So those were here for sure.
I know you were really excited about this, and most people, if they found that in their backyard, wouldn't know what it is.
Well, they think it's old pipe or something, but it's actually the base of a Hotchkiss shell, which was known to have been used here during the Battle of Franklin as well. And it's just the exploded piece on the bottom. The shell would explode, and that came off. Has the flame groove markings in it and everything. So that's the actual Battle of Franklin material that we found.
And what are your conclusions after finding all of this? What does it tell you about this area?
Well, it tells me a couple of things. It tells me that anytime dirt is moved in this area, there's probably something to be found pertaining to our history. The other thing it tells me is this ground actually, as most of us had already knew, was battleground. These objects were found all the way towards this part of the park, and that would speculate that all the way in there was a lot more artifacts to be found. So there is clear evidence that right here near Carnton there were a lot of artillery shells, projectiles going off.
Very exciting information. And Eric, this is going to be on display at Carnton. Actually, it's on display now. How can people see this?
As soon as the items are donated from the city, what we're going to do is have in our new visitor center, the Fleming Center, we're going to have a number of display cases, but one of them will be specifically set aside for the eastern flank. General William Loring's division were the Confederate troops who passed through this area, so we'll be interpreting their role in the battle in this ground as they move toward the Union position. Which is just beyond where the railroad tracks and Lewisburg Pike intersect. That's where Loring's men hit, but as they come through this area, they're obviously under this long-range fire. So it'll be a permanent display in the case, interpreting both Loring's division as well as the troops he fought against in various artifacts directly related to those two sides. So folks can come out and see it 7 days a week. It'll be in one of the cases. We're going to have about a half a dozen display cases in our back exhibit hall, so they can see it at any time.
All right, and what are the hours again of Carnton?
9 to 5 Monday through Saturday, and 1 to 5 on Sundays.
All right, guys, thanks so much for being here with us today. And now we're going to throw it over to Andy King with an important fire safety message. Andy?
Thanks, Melissa. I'd like to take this opportunity to talk about fire safety and remind everyone that it's a year-round responsibility. Did you know in Franklin that 1/3 of all fires are caused by cooking? Cooking fires are generally caused by people leaving the stove unattended. When you cook, always stay close to the stove. Earlier this year, we did a demonstration to prove the effectiveness of residential fire sprinklers. We built 2 8x8 rooms and furnished each almost identically. We set a trash can on fire in the corner of each room. One room has sprinklers, the other side does not. It really shows how fast fires burn and the smoke that can be generated. In the room with fire sprinklers, one sprinkler activates within about 15 seconds, but only after the ceiling temperature reaches 155 degrees. 10 gallons of water per minute controls the fire and didn't allow it to reach flashover. Flashover is the critical point where everything in the room ignites. After that, the fire spreads even faster, pushing hot smoke and toxic gases throughout the house. On the opposite side, we see an incipient fire that starts in the trash can and spreads to the couch. The fire continued to spread up the curtain and creates a layer of hot gases at the ceiling that approaches 1200 degrees. Without a sprinkler to control the fire, it becomes very dangerous quickly. Even with working smoke alarms, your family would only have minutes to get outside before risking injury and possibly death. As you can see, residential fire sprinklers can make the difference between life and death in a fire. When choosing your house or apartment, demand fire sprinklers for the best protection. For more information on fire sprinklers and fire safety, please contact us anytime at 791-3270. Back to you, Melissa.
Thanks, Andy. And that about does it for this edition of the City Insider. For more information about our city parks, go to www.franklintn.gov or you can call 794-2103 to book a city park for your event. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.